It's going to help the Middle East in its entirety. So Amazon is building what they call a region, Amazon Web Services, which is a hyperscale data center that will serve the entire Middle East. If you look at the map of the world and look at the Middle East and Africa, and you look for any of the hyperscale data centers run by Amazon or Google or Microsoft, you'll find a big empty blank. And so Amazon is the first to look at the region and take it seriously. The hyperscale data center that is being built in Bahrain is really built for the entire Middle East. I think it's transformative. Number one, when we look at Industry 4.0, when we look at artificial intelligence, when we look at machine learning, this is very data intensive. You need cloud computing, you need fast computers that are at the fingertips of enterprises and startups. And so to have that in our region, serving enterprises and startups, is going to allow businesses to be able to move into the fourth industrial revolution. More importantly, it's going to create jobs, high value quality jobs. This is going to require data scientists, engineers, coders, programmers. And in the Middle East, you know, we need to create jobs, employment. And I think this entry is going to build a whole entire industry around data and cloud computing. Well, by moving to the cloud, enterprises and startups have the ability to analyze data, sift through data, engage in data analytics in a way that you couldn't do if you built your own on-premise servers. So that's going to unleash innovation. As a government of Bahrain, we've introduced a cloud-first policy. And by cloud-first, we've moved all of the government to the cloud. It's going to allow the data that the Ministry of Health has to integrate with the data that the Ministry of Education has. The potential of taking these two data sets that were siloed and to be able to cross-fertilize them is going to allow even the government to innovate. And so if you think about that on the level of an enterprise, if they can take all of these data sets on the cloud and be able to allow innovation, to be able to allow startups to look at that data and allow them to innovate around it. So I think data centers are a building block. Of course, you have to build the capability on top of that. So I think it'll allow us to unleash innovation, and I think it's good news for the entire region. Well, first of all, we want Bahrain to become a friendly ecosystem for startups for the entire Middle East. So we have already started initiatives that allow startups from India, from Palestine, from Egypt, and we've seen that already. We've seen startups from Amsterdam, from Holland, and from India come in. So I think that's going to allow entrepreneurs a haven for where they can come and unleash their ideas. Again, together with other centers like Amman, like Dubai, like Cairo. The other element that we think is, skill development. Today, the world is changing so fast, and we've worked with AWS on a program called AWS Educate. And we saw, just to show you the demand, the day they launched, 1,700 Bahraini men and women signed up for this program. That was the fastest take-up they've ever seen. Faster than China, faster than India. For a small country like Bahrain, quite impressive. And it shows you that our youth is hungry for opportunity, because these are jobs that are going to pay great salaries, that have high potential. By the way, there's a shortage of demand for this globally. So I think it is good news not only for Bahrain, but I think we'll have programs like this in other countries that is going to allow young men and women to be certified and then to be able to get jobs, not only with Amazon, but with other technology companies. I think it's going to be a challenging environment on global growth. I think we've already heard from the IMF that they see headwinds. But I think, listen, when we see China growing at 6%, and this is an $18 trillion economy, 6% growth is not bad. So my certainly perspective on the world is, yes, there are headwinds, but I think I continue to remain positive. And I think in the Middle East, I think governments are taking decisive, long-term wise actions to introduce measures that allow fiscal sustainability. I think Vision 2030 in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is a breath of fresh air. I think it will impact the entire GCC and the Middle East. So I remain positive about not only globally, but the Middle East. And I think technology is going to, as much as people fear it, I think it is going to unleash potential innovation and be for the better good of people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your time.
Thank you very much.